Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred Ruiz Died Laughing, and I'm here with my last weekly wrap-up of 2016. So obviously it is the first today, but these books are all the books I read in the last week, 2016, and I can't wait to talk about them. So the first book is one that I had been reading over the past couple of weeks, and you guys will know what it is. It's Shadow of the Wind by Ruiz Zafón. I was buddy reading this with a friend of mine in real life, and I'm really happy we got to buddy read this together. It was really nice just to be able to talk and gush about the different things that happened in it. This is basically about a young boy called Daniel, and he finds this book. His dad brings him to this special library, and he ends up adopting this book, and he ends up finding that there's a little bit of a mystery surrounding the author of this book, and he kind of makes it his mission to learn everything there is about this author, and he kind of goes on this massive adventure, and there's all sorts of things going on in Barcelona. It's set in Barcelona in Spain. And there's all sorts of things going on about this author, and he just steps into this world of intrigue and danger and adventure basically when he decides to find out all the things. So yeah, this was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's obviously a book I've heard quite a lot about, so I was very eager to get into it. I actually highlighted a couple of quotes at the start of this book when I started reading it, because some of them were so beautiful, and I don't normally like highlight my books or underline or write my books, but they were just so great I just wanted to remember them, so I actually highlighted them. There wasn't that much at the rest of the book, but just the start of the book in particular, there were just some really great lines that I really loved. But I really got into the story. I just thought the descriptions were amazing, the sense of atmosphere was really great. I felt like it wasn't this kind of book that you kind of had to read a few pages to really get into. Every time I opened the book, within the first line, I was back in the story. I was there with Daniel on his adventures, and I loved it. It was so great. I thought there was parts of it that were a tiny bit predictable, which is probably why I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5 stars. It just wasn't my favourite book of the year, which is why I didn't give it a 5 stars, but I gave it a really strong 4.5 stars. And for anyone who has been kind of thinking about picking this up, I definitely would say to pick it up. It's a great book for book lovers. Just great characters, a lot of charismatic characters, and I love the fact that it's set in Spain as well. It's really authentic Spanish voice, and this is translated as well, so yeah, I like, it's so beautiful in English. I just can't imagine how beautiful it would be in actual Spanish. So maybe I just need to improve my Spanish a bit more and then read this in Spanish. That would be amazing. But yeah, an absolutely beautiful book. Really enjoyed it. Really highly recommend. 4.5 stars. The next book I finished was Small Admissions by Amy Poeppel. I'm not going to talk about this book because I did a full video review for this book, and I will link that below, but I also gave this one a 4.5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. Next book I finished was Boomer's Bucket List by Pethick. This is a really cute book I got from NetGalley, and it's basically about this woman who has a dog, and she ends up discovering that her dog is very sick, and he doesn't have a lot left to live. He's quite a young dog, he's only 5, but he has a heart condition, and the vet tells her he only probably has a month left to live, and she decides that she's going to take the time off work and do Route 66, I think it is, with her dog Boomer, just so they can go and visit different places and just spend all the time they can together, and kind of give him this last little adventure before he dies. So this is the kind of book I went into knowing I would probably cry at some point in it, but I didn't actually cry. I was sad, there was a lump in my throat, but I didn't actually cry, which I'm a bit surprised about. But I did, for the most part, I did enjoy this book, and there are a few parts of it that kind of let me down a little bit. I would have liked a lot more kind of maybe Boomer action, like a lot more with the dog, rather than there was like a relationship in it between Jennifer and this guy called Nathan that she meets on the road, and it seemed that like a lot of the story ended up focusing on their relationship rather than Jennifer's relationship with Boomer, and I would rather have had more of like a lot more Marley and me kind of moments between Jennifer and Boomer than the romantic moments between Jennifer and Nathan. And I thought I would really like this relationship as well between them, and I ended up not really liking it at all. I just felt like Jennifer remained very cold and kind of stuck up throughout the whole kind of story, just as kind of the way she was. But then Nathan is a journalist, and he's very cynical and very he's very rude at some points. There can be an edge of meanness in a lot of like what Nathan was saying, and it seemed like he didn't care that he had this kind of edge to him, and I don't know, I just felt him really rude and inappropriate at times, and she she knew that he was being like this, but then she kept falling for him anyway, and I just thought that was like, I just didn't really like their relationship. It just didn't gel for me. But I liked how it wrapped up. I liked the very end of it. And yeah, I liked Boomer, obviously. Like, he was a golden retriever cross. He was gorgeous. I loved him. The next book I finished was The Magdalen Girls by V.S. Alexander. This is about two different girls who are sent to the Magdalen laundries in Dublin, Ireland, in about the 1960s. The Magdalen laundries, if people don't know what they were kind of these places set up by the Catholic Church, and basically a lot of the time women who were unmarried and were going to have children were sent to these places, and they were basically treated like prisoners, and they would have their babies, and then the babies would be put up for adoption, and there's just a lot of horrible things went on in this place. And these places were open for years and years and years in places in Ireland and England, America, Canada, but there's a very strong I know a lot about them because there's a very strong history of them here in Ireland, and just the different things that happened to these poor girls who were there. They were treated very badly, really, really badly abused by the nuns who ran these places, and it's just horrible. It's really, really horrible. So I knew going into this book that I was going to feel really, really, really angry at points in this book and very emotional, and I was right, I did. This is basically about a girl called Nora whose parents basically feel she's being too flirty with a guy, or with guys, so they send her to this place. They basically the parents and the family send their girls to these places, and they basically sign their lives away. So the girls are effectively prisoners, and if the girls escape, they're normally brought back, and the guards are allowed to go and get these girls and force them back into these workplaces. So even if they escape, there's a very high chance they'll be caught and brought back. So yeah, she was signed away to this laundry, and so was another girl called Tegan, and basically what happened to her is a priest had sexual feelings for her, this young priest, and because he had sexual feelings for her, she was thought of as a sinner, so the older priest of the parish convinced her dad to send her to one of these laundries, and they are trapped in these places, and this is just kind of their story of how they're planning their escape, and kind of how the nuns are trying to beat their spirit out of them, basically trying to break them, and they are refusing to be broken, and they're keeping their spirit, and they refuse to bow down to what is happening to them. I did for the most part enjoy this book. There were some problems I had with it. I just felt like the laundry itself, I felt like a lot of the things that happened were quite tame. I feel like realistically things were a lot worse than what is portrayed in this book, from what I've heard in history and from what I've seen in other things. I think it's a lot worse than what was portrayed in this book. And as well, the Mother Superior in this book, who was like in charge of this particular laundry, the author gave her this whole backstory, and I felt like it was kind of to say, well, this is why she treats people like this, and she has this whole story, so we should feel sorry for her. And I was like, well, no, I'm not, because this is like history, and these people were real, and not every single Mother Superior in all these laundries had this backstory, so they were just evil people. So I wasn't falling for that. I wasn't going to feel anyway sorry for this Mother Superior. Yeah, so I did like it. I gave it like a 3.5 stars because I did have my problems with it. I did go on and watch the Magdalen Sisters movie after I watched this. I've seen it before, but I watched it again and, just sparked my anger further. But yeah, I just find the history around the Magdalen laundries really, really interesting. Really horrible, but really interesting. It does make me very angry that this happened. And, this was the 60s. This is the 1960s, and this was happening to these girls where they were being forced into these places and treated worse than jail inmates. This is a proven point that a lot of the times their lives were worse than if they were prisoners. And yeah, the state didn't even give a formal apology until 2013 to these girls, to these women who were trapped in these, and to the babies that were given away. And there's like a 60 million euro compensation scheme set up for the women that are still alive from the laundries, and the Catholic Church never donated any money towards it, which I find absolutely incredible, considering that these places were run by nuns, and the priests also had their hand in it as well. I just find that incredible, and I just wanted to put that out there. The last book I finished this week was Sourcery by Terry Pratchett. This is the 5th Discworld novel, I think, and it's about a boy called Coin, who is the 8th son of an 8th son, which makes him a sorcerer instead of a wizard. And sorcerers are a lot more powerful than wizards, but they're not really supposed to exist. And basically, Coin can make the end of the world happen, and the wizard called Winsward, who has been in the first couple of books, I think. He is in this as well, and he just goes on one of those crazy adventures that he does not want to go on, and he kind of becomes that unlikely hero again, like he tends to always do by accident. So yeah, I did enjoy this. I gave this a 3.5 stars as well, just because like there are parts of it where I wasn't really sure what was happening, but I kind of find that with Terry Pratchett books. There's a lot of times where something will happen, and then I'll go a couple of more pages and I'm like, wait, what just happened? I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. But I've kind of just accepted that with Terry Pratchett books at this stage. Yeah, but I'm definitely enjoying these a lot more than I did when I first started reading them. I feel like I've gotten used to the style of writing a lot more, and to the way the stories are, and just the way Terry Pratchett writes in his descriptions and stuff like that. The first two books, I just was like so confused when I was reading those ones. I didn't really know what to make of them, but the last couple that I've read were much better. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going on and continue reading. So that is everything I've finished this week. At the moment I'm currently reading 2 different books. I am reading Sailing to Sarantium by Gavriel. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about 100 pages in and I'm really enjoying it. So I can't wait to go on and dig down into this one. And I'm also reading Run for the Hills by Tom McCaughren. This one I was given this by O'Brien Press for a review, and this one's just like a kid's book, but it's really cute so far and I'm really enjoying it, so I'll talk more about that next week. But those are what I'm reading. And then I also just wanted to show you guys my calendar that I got for 2017, because it's absolutely beautiful. Oh my god, just look at that, it is so amazing. I saw this and I just had to pick it up. I could not leave it in the shops. There is January, which we have our Tangled scene. Oh, amazing. It's so beautiful. I love it. I also have to do my January TBR jar pick. I did not read my December TBR jar pick, but I will try and read that in January, and we'll just see what I pick out now. So the book that I've chosen is Romulus, Buckle and the City of Founders. This is on my Kindle, I think, and I think it's like a steampunk fantasy novel. I can't really remember, but I will leave the picture of it beside me somewhere and you guys can see that. So that is everything I've read. I hope you guys had a really lovely Christmas and a really happy new year, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!